This
Call to order.
conference will now be recorded.
We're missing Julie and Elaine, at least temporarily. And you say, Eric, Julie's not going to be with us?
That's correct.
Oh, okay, that's a pity. All right, then citizen comments. I think, yeah, citizen comments is the next item on the agenda. I'd like to move the agenda around and welcome Norma and Brian and Paul, of course, to the committee. It's nice to have some new faces. It's great, actually. Sliding back because I'm being really casual about this. Well, did everybody get a chance to take a look at the minutes of the last meeting? That really would mostly apply to Gage, since I know you were at the last meeting. Paul, you were there, so you can chime in. And Dave.
Yes.
I don't see anything of concern in the meeting, in the minutes, and they appear to be complete to me. We don't need a vote of approval, so we'll just take them as read, unless anybody has anything to add or comment about.
Good to go.
No, Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
Say that again, Paul.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, as I said, we don't actually need one, but we just tend to take them. You can have one if you want one, but really not necessary in this committee. That's my understanding. Okay, the next item on the agenda is election of office to serve 2021 chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary. I was going to ask Julie to become the chairperson, but she's not here. Maybe we should vote her on in abstention, reserve a right for not showing up. I would like to invite nominations or volunteers for the positions of chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary. Over to you.
Shall we start do these one at a time?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I would like to, before we start, we would like Councilman Williams to kind of discuss how City Council is doing the committees now, and City Council is doing their pro tem and positions on council as well.
Yeah, each year we rotate who's going to be the pro tem. It gives everyone an opportunity to serve in a different way, and it works out well. I was 1 year, and Dick Weatherly was 1 year, and now Arch is pro tem for this year, and it will keep rotating. It allows everyone to have a little bit more involvement in running a meeting and getting to know everyone. Clive has been doing it for the last 2 years, and he's done a great job. But you got to get. Huh?
They said, is it two?
Yeah,
it's
been a long. Yeah, and you were doing it before then too, so.
Yeah. No, I'm ready to leave. Really.
I did want to recognize Brian Pinnell, Norma Owens, and Paul Roberts to the committee. Each of them bring a wealth of knowledge to this group, and I expect great things from them in helping move the group along and looking for new opportunities. Brian's background is in corporate, state, and local tax. He has detailed knowledge of Chapter 380 agreements and enterprise zone codes. Norma's background is that she is strong in strategic alliance and analyzing data and situations. She's been involved in new business models. She's been employed by Wake Technology Community College, Succeed 360, which is e-learning, ABC Home and Commercial Services, and B&G Chemicals and Equipment as a division manager. So she's had a lot of experience in that field. And Mr. Paul Roberts, he's the technological guru. He's with Pacesetter Corp, Dell Computer Corp, Velocity Electronics, and now he's with Solid Technology Solutions. So he brings a wealth of knowledge, and you've already seen him email a bunch of data from time to time. So he should be able to help us tremendously in our endeavors. So I welcome the 3 members. I also think that we have an opportunity to do something unique here, and you know, we need commercial growth, and we may be able to focus in on new businesses and help do some of the legwork and meet with different companies and try to figure out what their strategies are and see if it fits with our strategies, and help Eric while he's doing his thing. We look for new opportunities. So that's a plus. So that's all I have. Any questions on that?
And Council Williams, I think they were going, can you let them know that Julie would no longer be on the
Yeah.
committee?
Yes, Julie will, she's going to P&Z. We had so many different people that have applied for different committees, so we're trying to keep each individual person to one committee. And Julie, on her job, is gotten promoted and is traveling right now, and she was on P&Z last night, but she was in a different state altogether. So she didn't think that she could participate in both economic development and P&Z. And, you know, I didn't think she could either. So she will be resigning from this, and we'll be putting someone else in that position. That's been on the list of people that are still not on the committee. So that's the situation there. I don't have anything
Great.
else.
Then I will reluctantly withdraw my nomination of Julie as chair of this.
You know,
But see, we do have a caller.
I'm not going to do it myself, so I'm looking for somebody else to step up. By the way, I did just get a message from Elaine. She is trying to join the meeting, but is having computer problems apparently.
okay.
But I'll leave it to you to draw straws and decide who should lead this committee for the coming year.
If we're open to nominations, I know he's a new member, but I've worked over the last year through the Lions Club a lot with Paul Roberts. I've been impressed with his effort and his leadership. I think Paul would be a good personality to direct where we head. So I'd nominate Paul for president.
Thank you, Gage. I'll second that.
Well, for us to make sure we are clear on our minutes notes, so it's chairman, not president.
Yes.
I'm sorry. My apologies. I was thinking Lions. I
We do
stand
have a-
corrected. Thanks, Eric.
Is that Elaine? Elaine, is that you on the call, or we have a caller on the line?
No, I
I think
called in with
that'll be
them.
Norma.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
Norma?
I called in on the phone and have my video going too, so
Gotcha.
that was my solution.
Oh, okay, that's you. Okay, then. All right.
Okay. Any other nominees for chair? Okay. All right. The Meredith
Okay,
has-
as the outgoing chairman, might I say, there being no other nominees, could we just have a show of hands in favor of nominating Paul as the chair for this coming year?
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
Sold. You're on, Paul. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know that I'll speak as eloquently as you, sir, with the Queen's tongue, but I'll certainly do my best. I've never chaired one of these before, but I'd also, before we get started, just like to give everyone a little background on myself. I'm 47 years old. I moved to Lago Vista in 2016. I am married, and we have 3 children, ages 12, 10, and 8. When we moved to Lago Vista, my wife, Deanna Roberts, became the PTO president for the elementary school. I grew up in San Antonio. I'm an 8th generation Texan. Been here, my family's been here a long time. And I've been in Austin. I came to Austin in '98. And I started working for Dell Corporation in '98. And I left Dell Computer Corp in late '99, and then in 2000 I started working in my trade for another company until 2003, at which point I started my own business after I decided I would start working for my dreams instead of someone else's. And I've been doing it ever since. It's a small C Corp. I'm the sole shareholder. I have 1 employee who is my wife, though she does quit from time to time. It is still us. And we have about $4 million in revenue per year. I've grown it from nothing and with a single line of credit from when I first started. My business is dealing in board level electronic components for different computer manufacturers around the world and contract manufacturers and ODMs like Flextronics, Sanmina SCI, Benchmark. And as such, I deal with a lot of other small business owners like me. And I've seen them grow their businesses. I've grown my businesses. And since my time in Lago Vista, I have been going to all of the city council meetings, all the planning and zoning meetings, and more recently, starting in September, or about October, I started coming to all the economic development committee meetings, as well as building in standards and the library board and every other commission and board we have in town. So as your chairman, I want you to know I'm going to continue doing that, and I should have a pretty good thumb on all things going to Lago, and hopefully that perspective can help us further the economic interests of Lago Vista, pursuant to Councilman Williams' desire that we get some commercial development going. There's been talk about the hotel development. There's been a lot of talk about different things. I would like to see all of us put together and fill up some agendas for the future. We need to get some good agenda items, and we can start talking about that at the appropriate time. With that being said, election of officers, we've covered that. I believe we should just move into the economic development director's business items, number 4 under business items on the agenda. Is that
Paul,
correct?
Before you go there,
Okay.
you need to do your co-chair and your secretary.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any nominations for co-chair? I would present Mr. Hunt as co-chair. I would like to motion for Hunt, Mr. Hunt, to be the co-chair. Any discussion?
I'll have a hard time finding a secretary.
Whichever role you guys would prefer is okay with me.
Do you have a preference, Mr. Hunt?
I don't. I'd be happy to serve the group, in whichever role y'all pick.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Show of hands.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Mr. Hunt will be the co-chair, and we need a secretary. Have any members ever been a secretary for any board, committee, volunteer organization, or professional organization before, and have experience doing that? Is it Miss or Mrs. Owen?
Mrs. Owen, yes, I have done the secretary before. But I'm willing to. I'm a newbie here, so whatever y'all think.
Well, if you have experience, then that's more experience than the others have, and there's definitely going to be a learning curve for me here. And I'm looking forward to Mr. Rutherford and Mr. Williams kind of helping me like they just did a few minutes ago. So if, would anybody like to make a motion on secretary?
Yeah, I'll nominate Norma for secretary.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay.
All right.
Off we go. Woohoo!
All right. Congratulations.
Nothing but just getting us involved there. Right, Paul? Just throwing us in.
Best way to learn, right?
That is.
Great. I tell you, before we go further, I think since several of us don't know each other, maybe we could each just take a minute or two and just introduce ourselves. Gage, would you like to go first?
So, Mr. Chairman, let me that'll be fine. Let's do it about 2. We're going to get kicked off at 5. If we are not finished by 5, the council has a special call meeting at 5. So just want to let you know it won't be me, so don't blame it. So if we get kicked out, we're going to get kicked off at 5 either way because of the special call meeting for council.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zena. How much time do you need for your business items?
I don't have that much, so I think it'd be great if everybody want to introduce, but I want to just let you know that if we did get to the 5 o'clock hour, it wasn't me cutting everybody off. It's IT doing it. So.
A special call meeting at 5 o'clock for the city council, where there's also a 7 p.m. special call meeting for building and standards. Mr. Hunt, would you please introduce yourself?
Be happy to. I am a fairly recent retiree. Spent the last 18 years of my career managing real estate and facilities for Mary Kay Cosmetics. Before that, I had spent almost 30 years in the grocery industry as a manufacturer's representative. Could not be happier locating here to the community and glad to be part of it. My wife and I have been married 44 years, and we have 4 kids and 5 grandkids. So very happy to just be involved in what we're doing here in Lago Vista.
Fantastic. Meredith, we'd love to. No audio.
Meredith, no volume.
We're not hearing you, Meredith.
And there's Elaine.
As it's on.
Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
we
ma'am.
can-
Oh, okay. I toggled it a couple times, so I guess apparently that works now. A lot of you know me real well. I'm Meredith. I'm the PIO Marketing Communications Supervisor for the city, and working with Eric with Economic Development. Busy doing just about anything that has to do with communications, events, marketing. I basically pick up the scraps of all sorts of things. I guess that's it. I'm always at the city council meetings disseminating information. I'm always here each month at the Economic Development Advisory Board committee meetings. And if you ever need anything, just call me and I'll be happy to talk.
Wonderful. Thank you. Mr. Rutherford.
Yeah, I'm Clive Rutherford. I was not born and bred here in Texas, but I've lived here in Lago Vista for some 23 years, I believe it is. I am the broker owner at 1431 Real Estate, small local brokerage. I've been involved in Lago Vista's economic development efforts for far too long, 15 plus years, I think it is. And it's probably time that somebody put me out to pasture. But I'm happy to be here and try to continue to do my bit.
Wonderful. Mrs. Owen.
Hi. Well, I'm a little bit newbie here in Lago and to this board. So we got here in 2018 as a final trek of running around the country. Born here or bred in Texas, but then got exiled for about 15 to 20 years as we trekked around on corporate career and decided to come back here and make this our final home. So I'm really interested in getting in. I think maybe something of value or of interest for the committee in regard to my background is a lot of my work in regard to economic development or in helping cities run talent pipelines matched to the recruiting efforts of businesses that you were bringing to town. So how you kind of notch that up in regard to talent sometimes is of value. And some of that means that I get involved with seeing how schools create internships, stuff like that. So maybe we can add a little bit of fun component on that, because I'm seeing some studies that say if you got the talent, sometimes you can entice the companies and the commercial endeavors to, come to the forefront. But I'm excited to be here and look forward to making things happen in Lago.
Wonderful. Mr. Pinnell.
Hi, I'm Brian Pinnell. My wife and I moved here in 2017, where shortly after we moved here, we had our first son, and who is now 3, and we have another 1-year-old that just came last year, or earlier this year, actually. Well, not this year, 2020, sorry. And I have been, my career has been in state and local tax for about 18 years, working in the tech and finance industries. I've currently been at Dell for 15 years. So I have a lot of experience with enterprise zones and 380 agreements on the corporate side. Excited to learn the government side of things and be of help where I can.
Fantastic. Ms. Hughes.
Hi, sorry I have a little bit of a sore throat today. I'm Elaine Hughes. I'm the Executive Director for the Chamber of Commerce that serves Point Venture, Jonestown, and Lago. Brian, for you, we do have 380 agreements in place. We haven't always, but we do now. I meet with tourists and residents and prospective business owners to try to share statistics and maps and layouts and the advantages of opening a business here in Lago.
Wonderful. Great. Well, thank you everyone for introducing yourselves. I look forward, I think I speak for everyone when I say I think we all look forward to working with one another and moving things forward. Mr. Zeno, would you please tell us about the business items?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, Happy New Year to everyone. I want to say thank you to Clive. Clive is for our outgoing chair. I mean, Clive has been doing it since I've been on board 2 years, and I want to give my thanks and appreciation to Clive. You can always call Clive. He has answers, and he's always available. So I want to thank him for his service the past 2 years that I've been on board as chair of the committee. And I also want to welcome the new members and welcome the new officers. I'm very excited about having you. Look forward to the things that we can do and keep Lago growing. With that, on the business items side, as we know, we have a city manager. Josh Ray, our city manager, took another position at another city. So we'll be doing, in fact, after this meeting, we'll be doing interviews for the interim city manager position, as well as looking for, I think, a firm to get the permanent city manager position. So those will be the next items at a special call meeting this afternoon. And I think on the agenda for the 21st as well, council meeting as well. With that, we closed the year last year with 371 homes, which is great for Lago. Roy's looking at some numbers and things of that night. We think we can be maybe double that or even somewhere in between that number of next year. But we closed the year with 371 homes, new homes, which is a great accomplishment. I think you saw the sales tax numbers. We sent that out. The sales tax numbers was up 38% from last year, which is also great. Again, a great indicator for Lago Vista. We have 3 tenants in the Lago Vista Village. I just talked to the property owner, sent him a contact yesterday, and we're working on another lease at this point in time. No paperwork has been signed, so he's working on another tenant in that location. I'm excited about that. We're still working with the hotel group. I'm working with 2 hotel groups, as a matter of fact, but one is pretty close here. It looks like one hotel group is really with some progress that might have some announcements here in the future on that hotel group. Our pro tem Mr. Arch Davila has talked to us about looking at some urgent care / emergency rooms, medical, as one of the council agendas that we've been doing that with retail strategies. They sent us a list. They're narrowing it down now with some lists and been reaching out to those urgent care and emergency facilities for Lago Vista. I think we saw a comment or something of that nature, and I think Councilman Williams has had a great idea. We have Scott and White down the road here that we as a committee could go talk to Scott and White and see could they go in one of the existing facilities that we have and have their own urgent care emergency, which is a great idea that we can do that, and see if they would have the manpower or the desire. It would be less cost effective if they took an existing space and went and tried to do that type of service if that was something they would need to do. But either way, retail strategists have been reaching out as myself as far as the urgent care and emergency facilities that Pro Tem Davila tried to get us to look into at this point in time for Lago Vista. We still have our IEDC volunteer. Of course, COVID, as we know, COVID is 2020 and COVID is still in 2021. Our volunteer cannot get out to come in and do some volunteer work from us at this point in time. Again, that was pushed off to the 1st of this year. Now it's been pushed off to the middle of the year. See if that could be a possibility for her to come up from IEDC and do some volunteer hours as well. But we would kind of continue to play that by ear depending on COVID. As we know, we all been affected by COVID. So that COVID would dictate in the vaccination of those things and whether or not travel is allowed, and we could open up in that type of possible for her to come down and do some of those volunteer hours. All right, let me get to my note here. With that, I also want to bring Meredith on. Meredith is our communications person. I want to, Meredith, if you have anything to add to as far as communication component.
Wow, I have so much. I have so much stuff to tell you all that I sent you a written email instead. It's all I can do to just kind of run around and get all the updates about COVID. There are 8 items that I've reported on that have come to your email just about 15 minutes ago. You can read through them. There are several press releases. There are several links, information about vaccinations. Austin is having a harder time than other cities in trying to get their act together. There is going to be a registration process that's going to be put together. It has not yet. We are still in stage or phase 1, 1A and 1B. The people in this group who are allowed to get vaccinations are healthcare workers, frontline, police, firefighters, people over 65 years in age or with underlying medical conditions such as heart transplants, diabetes, things like that. There are some town halls going on this week to discuss that, and I sent you a link. There is updates on the Paycheck Protection Program, which I sent you a full detailed information on with links to applications, questions, that sort of thing. Yesterday was our all-time record high in new COVID cases, 955. Last time we had a high number was July 8th at 753. So that's huge. Wear a mask. Monday, we will be closed. City offices will be closed for Martin Luther King Day. In the email, what I said is we've all seen or heard the I Have a Dream speech, or at least I hope we have. So I found a link to his Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech, which I thought was kind of interesting. So that's basically what's going on here in the city, other than the 5 o'clock city council meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Very
Meredith.
much, Meredith. I'd like to add just a couple things real quick, and it's that I haven't read your email in its entirety. I was scanning it while I was listening to you, Meredith. So forgive me if this is a bit redundant, but indeed the legislation was approved for the second round of PPP loans, and those went active 2 days ago for new applicants. And one of the people in that demographic that was missed out on previously were ex-felons and a lot of your laborers, your sole proprietors, the people who are out there mowing yards, doing that type of labor work. A lot of them have criminal backgrounds. The new PPP application has revised the restrictions on ex-felons to make it easier for them to get the loans. Those who have received PPP loans previously, and as long as the money has been spent for that first PPP loan, they can now apply for a second, even if their forgiveness for that first loan is still pending. Security State Bank here in Lago Vista, they are participating. Regional banks have deference from the SBA as to an allocation of funds. Last time you may recall that it was the large banks who the SBA was working with primarily. And a lot of those applications never just even got processed properly. So the SBA is trying to make it easier so more people can get the money. Conversely, what this could also lead to is an allocation of funds to the city. You'll recall Lago Bucks that the city applied for with Travis County and received the grant, and the mayor and council distributed that out vis-a-vis the Lago Bucks. I believe there might be another opportunity for that again. So if that is the case, if anybody has time to verify independently, or perhaps David, Mr. Williams, if you learn of that from the mayor, you could let us know, and we could be thinking of future agenda items for ways to make recommendations to the city on how to spend that grant money. Which I think is, yes, sir, Mr. Williams.
I will do. Yeah, I will do.
Which I think is a good segue into consider our schedule and items for future committee meetings. Does anybody have anything at present that they would like to see on the next agenda?
Before we go there, Mr. Chairman, I want Elaine to talk about, I think she have a chamber luncheon that's usually a pretty big one in January. Elaine, you want to talk about the luncheon coming up?
Yes, our guest speaker is Mayor Ed Tidwell. And so instead of having a luncheon, we're just going to have a midday mingle is the name of it. And it's just going to be a Zoom call. But he's going to give us an update on the city of Lago Vista. I'm working with the mayor of Jonestown, and he may wait till March to do his. But we want to keep active with the chamber members and keep active in people's minds that the chamber is still here doing things until we can meet together and have our luncheons at the K Oaks Clubhouse.
I think
So
that's on
if
the.
you want to, let me tell you, if you want to register, just go to the chamber website, which is northlaketravischamber.org, and click on events tab, click on the date, which is January 20th, and it's a free registration. And then 2 days before the meeting, I'll send out the Zoom link for everybody. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Have you, I received an email through the chamber. I haven't been on social media much lately. Is the chamber promoting that event on social media?
Yes, both on our Twitter account and on regular Facebook. That was on Thursday is when I did my post.
Are you seeing, do you know off the top of your head how many people have signed up to join?
I see all the applications. I'm going to say between 15 and 20 so far, but most people wait till the last minute, as people do.
Okay, great. Anybody else? Mr. Williams, Mr. Zeno, before we move into future ideas, future agenda discussion?
Yeah, I will say this too, Paul, just to add in, a lot of work that I do, a lot of legwork is sometimes confidential and dealing with prospects and that nature. So I will say that the property on Bronco Lane that's adjacent across from the EDS, we will be having an announcement on that probably within the next 30 days. They had a 90-day contingent on that property that has been completed with some more paperwork. So we will be making an announcement here shortly on that property at that location.
Thank you, Mr. Zeno. Without violating any NDAs in place, or is this the same property that was up for a zoning change before Planning and Zoning and Council recently?
Is that the same one, Council? I think that's going to be the corner one, right there on the corner.
This is on the corner across from the fire station. No, I don't think that's
Different property. Okay.
Right.
different property.
Okay, great. Regarding future agenda items, before we hear from other members, Mr. Williams, you being privy to upcoming things on the items that are potentially coming before council in the near term and long term, is there anything in particular that you would like to see us working on germane to a specific item pending before council?
Not at this time. Plus, at the same time, I'm here to not steer this committee in any direction. So I will make you aware of different things that come up in council, but I will not say this committee needs to deal with it, or this, that's something that you'll have to determine on your own.
Thank you.
But I will inform you as things come up.
Okay.
It's just that right now our main focus is trying to deal with finding an interim manager, and that's why we're having a special meeting at 5 o'clock to interview 2 candidates for the interim manager. So
well, my goal is to wrap this meeting up in the next 7 minutes to ensure that you have time to get there and get under that meeting. So that I understand, and so that new members understand the protocols for getting something on an agenda or removing it from the agenda. Mr. Williams, you, I believe, have the most experience with that. Would you mind just giving us a quick synopsis of how a committee member might get something put onto the agenda outside of a formal meeting such as we're in today?
So you're talking about how would you get onto a council agenda?
No, sir, on this committee's agenda. If, for example, somebody has an idea tomorrow and they'd like to see it discussed on the next Economic Development Committee meeting agenda, how would they go about doing that?
It would go through Eric Zeno. Everything is sent to Eric since he's the Economic Director, Development Director. And between you and him, you all determine what goes on the agenda.
Okay, so to be clear,
so
if somebody has...
Paul, it could be sent to you,
okay,
and you contact Eric and determine which meeting it goes on. But it has nothing to do with me at all.
Okay, no, I understood. I was just looking for clarity on how something arrives on the agenda that is desired after these meetings are closed or adjourned.
Yeah, I mean, the 7 of you is a close group, so you can work amongst yourselves. But Eric is your contact person. Between you and Eric, you all establish the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay. And Eric, when would you typically discuss future agenda items with Mr. Rutherford?
You can contact me anytime, Paul. I'm open doors. So anytime you want to do that, just contact me. We will say this: I have to have that at least a week before the meeting because Sandra, the city secretary, per charter and everything, you have to have that posted so many days prior to the meeting. So it has to be. I usually try to get that to her the week before.
Okay. Do any members of this committee have any questions or clarifications they'd like Mr. Zeno or Mr. Williams to answer? Okay. Does anybody have anything they'd like to see on the next agenda? Mr. Hunt.
Yeah, one of the things I want to make sure we don't lose sight of that the committee's worked very hard on the last couple of years is the expansion of broadband services in the community. We've had some real good success in the last 18 months or so with the expansion of some of Spectrum's coverage, but it's a topic that I think we need to keep in front of us all the time.
Okay. I have a contact with AT&T Uverse, who is the area manager who was responsible for getting broadband gigabyte internet service to my property, piggybacked off the high school. And I think maybe that'd be a good contact gauge. And I'll make a note to myself to try to reach out to that individual and see if maybe we can get something going with her and find out what's necessary.
I think the governor's had a broadband committee too. Gage, is it up time for members on that yet? I know you and Don was kind of involved with that. Is that?
Yeah, Don was really heading that one up. And
Okay.
you know, if you and Paul are okay with it, I don't mind stepping in now that Don's not on the committee now. But I went through not the last meeting, but the conference they had before. It was several hours, and it is one resource we need to stay in close contact with.
So I would definitely like to see you go ahead and step forward unless anybody has any objections, since you kind of was already involved with Don. I think that would be a great idea, Gage.
Paul, that okay by you?
Excellent. Thank you very much for volunteering for that. And feel free to reach out to me if you need me to get involved as well, Mr. Hunt.
I think your AT&T contact will be another good resource for us to reach out to.
I will set that reminder right now to look into that, get her name. Okay, it's 8:43.
Well, real quick, before we move on, I don't know if it needs to be a disclosure or something. However, my husband works with Spectrum, and so Spectrum brought us here to Lago Vista, so I'm here because of them. It potentially, you know, I know that they've worked close. I know, Eric, I think I remember that they presented their build out or showed it back in 2019 here to the area. So I don't know. So that's good. We've got two great inroads, I think, into the majors in terms of making Lago a good city to live with lots of bandwidth.
Yeah, Spectrum did do that presentation, and we do have context for the construction side as well as the sales side of Spectrum. So you definitely did. You're correct.
Okay, that's Martin Luther King Day. I know the refugees close are the Jennifer.
That was background noise.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anybody else? No? Okay, well, then I guess we will adjourn the meeting and wish Mr. Williams the best with selecting our interim city council, our city manager. Thank you very much, everyone. Meeting's adjourned at 4:45.